So that's another thing that we have to do for our kids is get a credit card for them. Put them as a as somebody in your you be like your co-signer for them. Don't give it to them. Just have it and put it away or something. And that builds credit for them once they turn 18.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Creating Wealth Podcast, where I, Kyle, from Curtin Real Estate, interview local top dogs in the real estate investing, wealth building, and personal finance industries. Let's build together. What's up, guys? This week's guest on the podcast is doing some really great things in the real estate investment and real estate agent space in multiple different locations. In part one of yet another two-part interview, we had a really great conversation about a bunch of super relatable topics that are much bigger than just real estate investing. In this first episode, we get into the ridiculous potential from following up, setting up your kids to learn about building financial success, never burning your bridges, and so much more. There are a ton of valuable nuggets in this episode, and I hope you enjoy. Let's jump right into the episode. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 60 of the Creating Wealth Podcast. Today, we get the great pleasure of chatting with Jorge Sariego, a phenomenal real estate investor and CEO of the Boston One Realty Group, which provides concierge services ranging from Boston to New York City. What's going on, Jorge? What's new? Very excited to have you on.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. I know we met a few months ago and we kicked it right off. Thanks again for having me. And how's everything with you?
It's going okay, man. There's a couple things that I'm trying to get taken care of, but you know how it goes.
It's real estate, right?
Of course.
Now you're working on your first investment, right?
Yes. Yep. So we'll see. It's definitely been a ride.
The first one's always the hardest, believe me.
We'll see. But yeah, so, if we could kind of jump right into things, like what kind of got you into real estate? Like, what's kind of your backstory?
Sure. So I got in real estate. So quick background. 2005, I opened my construction company with my father.
Mm-hmm.
It's still active. My dad still runs the company. I'm still CEO of the company. But he just manages that. In 2018, I decided to leave construction because even though I started real estate in just shy of 10 years ago, but I was doing it part-time because construction was my forte, and then flipped my own properties was my forte.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's okay.
Having two phones, you get calls from another one. Let me just tell them that I can't talk. From construction 2005, then I started flipping properties for investors, like doing their rehabs and stuff in 2010. And that's when it basically hit me like, all right, if I'm flipping 35 properties for you a year, why the fuck can I not flip it for myself? Obviously, though, it's the same situation you're going through. The first one was the hardest. I'm like, oh, geez. And then that's when I jumped in real estate after I was flipping a property in Cambridge for an investor. He literally bought it for dirt cheap, the cheapest property I've ever seen in Cambridge, for like $289,000. Right in between Central Square and Harvard. The property was burnt inside. So the fire damage, which is one of the worst ones to do. I was like, dude, just knock the fucking house down and let's build it from scratch. Historical home, couldn't happen, fine. So basically we turned that home into new construction. So all the exterior of the property remained, and all the interior literally was all brand new 2x6s, 2x4s. The roof had to get cut off because the roof just had holes everywhere. And long story short, I've been a realtor, and he just walked out. I remember till the day today. He just walked in with looking all nice and clean and fresh. He was probably this was what 2010. So I'm 34. So I was probably 23. I'm looking at it, and the kid was like 18 years old. I'm looking at him like, you just graduated high school. You're what the fuck? And then I started talking to him. And he was like, yeah, we kicked it off, blah blah blah. And obviously he was a good salesperson. I tell you that for a fact. Fucking dude, fucking sold he could sell candy to a dead grandmother. It was impossible. So we were just talking and stuff, and then it hit me like, dude, if this dude's literally about to make $60,000 on a commission just by, opening the door, show it like that, like seriously, like, and I'm looking at my commission, how much I'm making after expenses, paying payroll and all the other stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm in the wrong business. I was like, all right. Literally that same night I went home, hopped online, registered for school. 2 months later I did school. I remember, dude, it was blizzard. It was a blizzard outside in December when I went for real estate school in downtown. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck did I just do? But whatever. Went for the exam, passed it, and then I hung my license with my first brokerage, and the only one I was actually with until I opened my own. And that was a real estate investment company. So they taught me a little bit about it. It was mostly my first listing. That was a $200,000 two-family Mattapan that I brought. That was $200,000 two-family Mattapan. Need a full gut reno, all that stuff. So you imagine the line there was outside to come in. And there were 5. I remember, dude. There was 5 investors that we clicked right away. They were really easy going and stuff like that. So I did my follow up. Yeah. So I follow up with them. Obviously, they all submitted offers. None of them won because they were like going 25, 50 over asking. And long story short, the house sold for $85,000 over asking. So it sold for $285. But I stayed in contact with them. Like I follow up like once a week. Hey, are you looking for something? Blah blah blah. And I saw, so those 5 investors, that $200,000 listing brought me millions and millions of dollars in sales. Because till the day of today, I still do business with them. One of them bought an auto body for $2 million off of me, 2019. The other one developed 6 brand new condos. So I had a good $4 million sellout this year because of that. So, long story short, small relationship like that, even though if you're a listing agent and you meet a person and you don't do business with them right away, stay in contact with them, because just keep your following up with them. It will lead you to future business, especially when you're in the investment side of real estate. Like investment side and luxury side of real estate is my forte. Mm-hmm. So that's why I really focus on the real estate side. Obviously, I buy and hold and flip properties myself. I got a lake house in town that I'm about to flip. I got a triple decker out in Worcester that I'm partnered with a couple friends that we're working on it. I'm partnered with a property in Edmonton that we actually just closed yesterday, finally, after a whole year of doing renovation. So yeah, no, real estate's everybody thinks it's easy to get into, but it's really not. Especially when you flip it, everybody's like, yeah, all you do is just buy, fix, and sell it. Yeah, but the process of buying, the process of fixing, getting contractors, getting electricians, plumbers, mm-hmm. you got to deal with the city or the town inspector. Like, it's not as easy as it seems like. It's definitely not HGTV. Exactly. I remember I had I did a little podcast. I have a podcast, a live course with a group of fellow like Sariego from Ryan Sariego. And it was the same thing. Kyle asked me, like, let's talk about flipping. I was like, let's do it. Like, it's definitely not your HGTV type of life. No, not at all.
I totally agree with you, man. It's totally crazy. Like I laugh when like some of those kind of shows come on that like, everything's going really smooth and like everything's fine. Like all the timelines are met. Like all these contractors are phenomenal. Like everything's great. They're going to make like, a huge profit on it. And like, being an agent, like, and just kind of looking at that from the outside, like how often does that actually happen? Like it's never that easy, man, like ever.
Nothing good comes easy, believe me.
Exactly. You're right. It's
everybody, I see a lot of people, especially the younger crowds. I see them hop into real estate career and they kick it off. First sales they do, they go buy a luxury car like a BMW or a Benz. I'm like, it took me 2020, literally a month before COVID hit. It took me 10, 11 years to buy my first really luxury car, my Land Rover.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, yeah. And believe me, when COVID hit, I was like, what the fuck did I do? The moment I buy a goddamn luxury car now, we're fucked. Because I remember, April of 2020, I lost 14 in change, almost $15 million of sales. And that one day.
That's insane.
I had a fucking mental breakdown the whole week. I was like, my brain was fried. I was like, what the fuck? So every single negative thought you could think of was like literally in my head.
Yeah.
I went to my office. Like, I was like, nobody was allowed to be out. I was in the office by myself, and I was like literally just fucking freaking out, yelling, talking to myself. And I fucking started crying. I'm like, what the fuck did I do? What am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, you know what? Fuck it. You'll be fine. You figure it out. You figure out through all your fucking struggles. You can figure it out this one. That's it. But by then I was like, you know what? I went home, took a shower. I was like, all right, good. Next day I woke up, fucking hit the phone.
Yeah.
That's we gotta, a lot of people don't talk about it, but I started talking about it a little more, and I've seen a lot more people talk about when, as a real estate professional and even as an investor, mental health is a big factor. Because the stress that we go through on a daily basis as a real estate agent, you have to deal with people's problems. You're a psychiatrist. You're a doctor. You're a babysitter. It's like you're everything plus a real estate agent. But then they ask you why you get paid so much commission and why are you charging this much to list my house? But because all of this is included in this part. Like you have to go switch a smoke detector. You have to go hardwire one. Not everybody, you could get an electrician charge you $300 and wait a week and then delay the closing by a week, or guess what? Get me goddamn smoke inspection. I'll hook it up for you, and that's it.
Exactly.
So, there goes a lot of factor, and mental health it's definitely one thing that we all have to talk about once in a while, because we go through a lot of stress on a daily basis. I know a handful of realtors that literally drink every single day just to relax.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not me, but I see it. I see it in the field with different realtors I know.
Yeah, I really like that that kind of conversation, man. Like, because you're right. Like nobody talks about that, and like I've seen it more in like the past, at least for myself, in the past couple weeks. Like I've been like so like mentally out of it with one of the transactions that I'm trying to do right now, and like it's crazy, man. You know what I mean? Like it really takes a toll. Like even like like coming home from like work, even like this week, there's a couple things going on, and and like I just like don't feel motivated. You know what I mean? Like I just want to get this thing to go through. Like let me know what's going on. Like, and I'm tapped out. You know what I mean? It really does take its toll. And that's something that you just have to kind of be aware of, and like be able to be like, all right, dude, like things are like really rough, but you're gonna make it through one way or another, and it's hard, man. It's definitely not easy.
I tell you that for a fact. It's definitely hard. Like, I woke up this morning, drop my daughter off. I'm like, I don't want to go to gym, but you know what? I have to. You got to push yourself. You do it. I'll pop my AirPods on, listen to. All I do is don't even listen to music, just podcasts, motivational podcasts of Gary Vee. It's Ryan Sariego. I just pop it in, listen to it, work out, and just your mind goes somewhere else, and that's how you focus.
Yeah.
That's my little secret. Do I go through stages that I don't feel like doing shit? Yeah, like this week I'm like I'm like literally dragging this week. I'm like fuck, but I remember why I'm doing this. I remember my wall. What's my wall? I'm like, okay, fine, keep on going. It's like right now currently I'm rebranding my office. I'm rebranding myself for the next year. So it's like it's a lot. It's a lot to go through. So, but it's gonna be paying. It's gonna pay off in the future.
Of course, man. Yeah. And that's huge. You know what I mean? It's like one thing that I feel like could definitely help me is the exercise. So like, I guess, let me ask you, in terms of like clearing, I guess like your head, I guess you could say, and like, just relaxing, like how is kind of exercise like played into that? Like, like if you're like got a lot of stuff going on, like, you know, and if you're like working out and everything, like, does that really like kind of help, you know, all like the mental stuff?
It helps me. So basically, like today, perfect example. I did not want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I was just lifting weights, you know, working out, doing some squats and stuff like that. I was trying to avoid the goddamn treadmill. I was like, I don't feel like doing treadmill, but I was like, you know what? Then I was listening to this podcast, this motivational podcast.
Yep.
And it's like, it hit me instantly. I was like, you know what? Let's fucking go to treadmill. I went in there, literally just ran for 15 minutes, and first 3 minutes I was dragging it, and then I was like, and then what I was hearing was like, basically, get your shit together, keep fucking, if you don't want to do something, just keep going. I'm like, all right, there you go.
Just do it. Yeah.
I just clear my head up, and it's basically like that. It's just, and then again, you also got to surround yourself with people that are going to motivate you.
Of course.
You know, iron sharpens iron. You got to surround yourself with people that are, you know, are going to be there, not going to be putting you down or talking about their negative shit. Everybody has negative stuff in life.
Yeah.
It's just basically, you know, let's try to be positive. You know, out of my friends, I think I'm the most positive person there is. It's like, dude, let's fucking like, I hear about the problem, like, dude, stop bitching about life and just fucking fix it. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about fucking business, because that's what I talk about with my friends. Like, I literally got 2 really close friends of mine that are my best friends, and it's like, if we're not talking about crypto, NFT, metaverse, it's talking about, all right, we're gonna buy this property, and you know, we own a few properties together, and it's like, we're not gonna buy this property, then what the fuck are we on the call or just texting each other for?
Yeah.
It's straight business.
Exactly, man.
So where we hang out, go grab a beer, which is, well, I don't drink beer, I just drink alcohol once in a while. That's it. It's, you know, it's pretty much like that. You surround yourself. It's like,
yeah.
I was talking to them, what was it, yesterday? We were like, you know, if we look at where we at now and where we came from, you know, obviously we all came from working class family. You know, my parents immigrated to the States 40 years ago, and you know, we didn't grow up with money. We didn't grow up with wealth. I got my kids, and the way I look at them, like, they're privileged everything they have.
Yeah.
Like, everything they have, I did not have growing up.
Exactly.
So it's like, you know, and I tell them all the time. I remind them, like, hey, you know, shit hits the fan. You know, all this could go away.
Yeah.
Well, shit's not hitting the fan anytime soon, but you know,
the idea,
saving life. Yeah, but I always basically tell them to you know, always think about rainy days.
Yeah.
Especially my son, now that he's 14 years old. So I'm trying to teach him more about a little financial, and like, I got his credit card. So that's another thing that we have to do for our kids, is get a credit card for them. Put him as a you know, as somebody in your, like, you be like your co-signer for them. Don't give it to them. Just have it and, you know, put it away or something. And that builds credit for them once they turn 18. So that's what I'm doing for my son now that he's 14 years old. So it's, you know, there's different ways that we educate our kids, and you know, the family definitely goes a long way to keep motivated.
Yeah.
That's another one of my whys. Like, you know, I got kids, I got a family I got to take care of. It's, you know, you got to make it for them.
You do, exactly.
Like, I tell my kids all the time, I want you guys to be better than me. I remember there was a follower sent me a DM, and he was like, oh, actually, it was a girl. She's like, oh man, I wish I was like you. I was like, no, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better than me.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, oh wow. She's like, I've never heard something. I was like, yeah, you don't want to be like a person. You want to be better than that person. That's the mentality, you know, we have to have. If you have an idol, you just be better than that, or just try to be better, at least mentally wise. You know.
Yep. You're right. You know, it gives you like a really, really high point to shoot for, you know, and like just to kind of keep continually, you know, working towards that. And that's really such a big thing, you know, is like wanting to be like your idols is fantastic, but, you know, wanting to do more than that is like some next level stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
Oh, for sure. I don't know, like, a perfect example, you know, I've heard a few comments when I did the Real Move Summit that I brought Ryan up and Matt Linelli. And, you know, I heard a few comments before the event happened, like, oh, George is trying to be like the boss of Ryan Sariego. And I'm like, So I went back to the source who said that, and I had a conversation. I was like, dude, can you meet me in my office? Like, I got to talk to you about something. Yeah, I had a I was like, dude, man to man, I'm not trying to be like Ryan Sariego. There's only one Ryan Sariego.
You're right.
I'm trying to be my goddamn self.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not you who's trying to, fucking be famous on social media and pull all this shit off. Like, dude, what the fuck? You have no experience of what you talking about. You're like the biggest fucking clown there is in Boston real estate. Probably don't even come at me.
It's huge, man. It's hard enough to have like your own brand, you know what I mean? Like be yourself and like, be that person and like reach your own vision. Like you don't want to be like somebody else. You know what I mean? Like you want to do your own stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard enough doing that.
Somebody else. Be yourself, be authentic. And if you see, I'm not sure, you do North Shore, right?
Yeah.
You're in the North Shore,
like Greater Boston.
All right, so you're like me, Greater Boston. So I'm pretty sure you see a lot of brokers and realtors that did try hard to be somebody that they're really not.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, just be authentic. The authenticity goes a long way.
It does,
especially in real estate.
Of course.
Like I said, never burn your bridge with another realtor because you never know when you got to do business with them again.
Yep.
You burn it once, you do business, you meet them for another business transaction, they're going to look at you like, yeah.
Hey.
I know that. I have a few people burn their bridge with me, and I had to do a transaction recently with one, and believe me, it was not smooth at all.
Yeah.
And I told my seller, like, yeah, this is what's going on, your choice is obviously, this is what happens. He tends to use his loan officer that is full of crap. Deals always fall through. It's your choice if you want to take that offer or not. He obviously wanted to take the offer because it was more than the previous offer that we got. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
30-day close turned into 120 days.
Insane.
Seller was like, yeah, I should have listened to you. I was like, it is what it is.
It's right. See, but that's huge, man. You know what I mean? Like to be able to give him that insight, like because you knew of like working with this guy or girl before, and just having that experience of like, hey, this isn't my first time meeting this person, but the last time, kind of gave me a little bit of insight. So, just kind of letting you know, And,
I know. I was the same loan officer and the same realtor. I was like, dude, it's, it is what it is. We ended up closing, like I said, 120 days later, we closed on it. It happened. Everybody moved on. That's it.
Yeah. It really is crazy too, man. Like how big of a community it is. Like even in like just Massachusetts, even like just like the Boston area, right? Like Boston, Greater Boston, whatever. Like how many like agents and investors and stuff there are, but also how small it is at the same time. And like everybody knows everybody. And like, even just kind of seeing it in like my network, like even like just kind of looking on like Facebook, like just like a stupid example, like how many mutual friends people have. And like, you hear a name and it's like, oh, like these 20 guys that I've talked to before, like know this guy. And like, like if you burn a bridge, then now all of a sudden, people talk, you know what I mean? And like your brand and everything, like it seems like it's a kind of a much bigger deal, to just kind of be that version of yourself and like, make sure everything's going okay and like working with people. And I feel like, like if you wanted to be successful long-term, like that's kind of the only solution, is to just, like do a good job and like not burn bridges and stuff. Cause like if you do, like people are going to talk and stuff, and like, like how sustainable is it? And
it's funny because it's only, it's like you do business up here. Like for me, example, now I'm in Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New York, and then I can tell you, Rhode Island the same way, Connecticut, Fairfield County, Greenwich area, it's the same way. New York City, it's the same way. Like I go to, the certain house all the time. I see Ryan, and then I see Sean McPeak, and a lot of Ryan's agents, and everybody's on everybody. Like that's one conversation last time. They did a NFT launch party in one of the townhouses, and it's like this realtor knew him and this one that. There were over 125 people in there. Everybody knew each other. It's like
it's crazy.
Not only in Boston, like it's just a business. Honestly, it's just a real estate business. That's actually everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
So I know you. You know me. We know Nick. I know Nick.
Sidra, yeah.
Everybody knows everybody.
So It's crazy, man. It's pretty mind blowing. And like, I kind of like it in a way. Like it's one of those things, like you just have to kind of like, like keep that in mind, I guess. Like when you're doing things, it's like, hey man, like everybody knows everybody, so like don't do anything stupid, and
Oh, for sure.
it's a lot of fun. Like even like just like connecting people together, at like, I don't know, like meetups, or like if somebody's got a deal going on, like, hey, I'm looking for a buyer, like, oh, I know this guy, like he's out in that neck of the woods, like I'll, connect you guys or whatever. And like just because it's so small. And like, I don't know, it's just pretty interesting, like, walking into meetups and like, knowing like a lot of the people in there, like just from like connecting with people, and then finding out that like most of these people know each other too. Like it's, I don't know, it's just kind of cool, like the web, you know what I mean? It's so big but so small at the same time.
No, of course.
It's nuts, man. Ooh, George, so what is kind of your drive, and like, well, we kind of got into, like your drive and your why a little bit earlier. What's kind of like your vision for the long term? Like as an agent, as an investor?
As an investor, my goal is to have at least 100 doors and within the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's my major goal. I have 100 buy and holds. There could be triple deckers, 2 family, single family. Well, I got 1 single family, which I might get rid of, but 2 or 3 families, couple condos. That's my goal. Have 100 doors as an investor. Actually educate real estate agents and educate, the regular person how to invest in real estate.
Yeah.
What I did in 2021, I reached out to my 25 clientele from 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And they all bought single family houses throughout, greater Boston. 5 out of the 25 actually this year bought 2 and 3 families.
Ooh,
for investment.
That's
so they
awesome.
kept single family bought their house, but I converted them into real estate investors.
Nice.
Your property has enough equity. You bought it a long time ago. So let's, what about, and I remember because I jot down the notes when I meet them and when they close them, they're all, in the future I want to buy, a multifamily to have for investment, blah, blah. So this year I was like, you know what, let me think outside the box. And I just hit the phone, call them up, or I just literally stop by their house with, a couple of wines and a little surprise for them. And when we started talking, they're like, yeah, let's do it. Well, I got them pre-approved, and they were, so 5 out of 25 I converted into investors, real estate investments property. That was a win for me.
Hell yeah.
And it's not so, it's not so much about the commission. It's just that feeling that you could help a family to become, financially rich in the long run, grow that generational wealth, especially for the kids in the future. So that's one thing that I look at, and that's my future goal. It's, to do more of that and help, regular agents who want to get into buying real estate.
Yeah.
Become flippers, become investors. Like I'm looking to build hopefully, if everything goes through, my first multi-million-dollar build. That's another goal that I'm shooting for. So hopefully I should know that by the next couple of weeks. So we'll see about that. Real estate wise, it's, just keep doing the same thing I've been doing. Just grow, triple what I sold this, 2020, just triple it for 2021. I'm rebranding the brokerage. I'm rebranding myself, and, speed that known George as, that fucking realtor that crazy enough to pull crazy shit out of his hat. I can tell you right now that I'm going to be implementing a lot of crypto, NFTs, and the metaverse come the new year. So it's going to be, I'm pretty sure you're seeing already, Jekyll Sullivan got 2 brokers who are brokering real estate in the metaverse. There's another one out in LA. I'm educating myself before I launch it.
Yeah.
But that's my goal. My goal is to be the first brick and mortar NFT / crypto / metaverse real estate brokerage.
That's badass. That's so cool, man.
If everything goes well, and like I said, I got to educate myself. I got to practice first before I start practice with other people.
Yeah.
then we figure out, I got crypto already. I got a couple NFTs. I'm working on buying a piece of lot on Decentraland. So let's see what happens.
That's
but once
so
I
cool,
master that, then I can go ahead and start teaching that and implement it to, social media and everybody.
All right, guys, that concludes our Creating Wealth podcast episode for today. I want to thank every single person that has listened this far. It really means a lot to know that people can learn from me and with me as we build wealth together. Hopefully, you can take home at least one thing from this podcast that will improve your life just a little bit. If you could, please check me out on social. That's at Kyle Curtin Real Estate on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm on Biggerpockets. Until next time, let's build together.